Hello, welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
So what should we cover tonight, Joanne?
Well, we're about to come out with a new release, so I thought we could maybe go over some of the key features in this new release, some of the key enhancements.
Sure, that makes sense.
Okay.
There are about 7 or 8 we can talk about.
Okay.
But along those same lines, as you know, we're also converting a lot of the modules to .NET.
Okay.
And that's still an ongoing process, and it's going to continue to be an ongoing process for a while. So at the end of this, we can also look at some of the modules that are being converted. So while the number of enhancements may be a little bit lower than what it had been in the past, some of that's due to the fact that some of these core modules are being continuously converted over.
Okay, makes sense.
All right, so if we come in here, we'll start in standards. So we'll open up file maintenance. One of the things is at the press level, if I open up a press, previously you could set a certain number of inks to be valid for a flexo press.
Right.
We've added the ability to do that now with business forms as well.
Okay.
Okay, so
Great.
now you'll be able to do that with both of them.
Great. Okay.
Okay. Staying in standards, if we drop down to user-defined fields, at the cost center level, and by extension, more specifically, the process level, there's now 5 more user-definable fields.
Okay.
Okay, so now there's 10
10.
user-defined fields total there.
Okay.
Okay. If we go out to shipping, we added a report, and a couple people have asked for this, so this is, I think, going to be a nice enhancement, but you can print a shipment list report, and it goes by a date range, so you can select your date. You want to go back as far as you want. You can choose the sort. If you want to run it by customer, run it by job number. Okay. And
So that's going to give me a list of my shipments for that date range.
for that specific date range. Yep.
That's great.
Either filtered by, account job or...
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Let's go into scheduling. Okay, so while we're in scheduling, and actually the options really at the cost center level. So if you've got a cost center set up to never load,
Right.
scheduling is now going to look at that. So if I have a job that I only have a cost center or cost centers that are set to never load, it's not going to show up in the schedule generator.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so for example, I've got a job 168. If I go into my schedule jobs, 168 doesn't show up. It's a design-only job that has one cost center, and it's set to never
load.
Okay, so it just won't pop up there.
Okay.
Okay. And now we'll go into CRM. We've done a few things there. Okay, so if I go to CRM, actually before I go to CRM, one thing out here in the email accounts, and this is part of CRM, but when you set up an email account for a user, you've got a couple options here that we've recently added. One, where you can set the user to view other users' email.
Okay.
And then a corresponding one where the user can view all emails.
Okay.
So if you want a supervisor level user to be able to see other users or everybody,
Okay.
they can do that. Okay. Cancel out of here. Now if I actually dive into CRM, we added another search button where you can search by ship to. So this will let you search the entire customer ship to database. So if I want to see what I have in for a particular city, it'll just return the shipments or ship to locations that match
From
that
that city.
criteria.
Okay. Great.
Okay. And one other thing here to note, we added this tab here. It's called Snapshot. And if I click that, it's going to give you, let me open this up a little bit here. It's going to give you a little bit of a, refresh it a little bit here, a little window into the customer. So over here on the left, you can see some of the information, how long they've been a customer, how long does it take them to pay, a little snapshot about invoices, estimates, orders, stuff like that. So just a quick little view of select information for that customer.
Now, is that screen a set screen or is it customizable?
It is a set screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think how's that look so far?
That's great. Now, I know as you said, we've been moving some of the modules over to the newer .NET platform. Sure. What's new, or what do we have converted so far.
Okay. Yeah, we can look at some of the specific modules. One of the things to keep in mind is the look and feel is changing a little bit, but not necessarily the function, the hardcore functionality.
Okay.
Or, a lot of the functionality is being tried to stay the same. The look and feel will look a little bit different, but as far as how it acts and works, it's pretty similar. Okay, so for example, if I open up purchasing, okay, you can tell, the color scheme looks a little different. The buttons are a little different. Okay, if I click add, you can see it looks a little more, a little different, but like I said, the layout's the same.
Okay.
The functionality behind it is pretty much similar.
Okay.
Okay, so purchasing was one. Shipping has been done. Okay, so again, the look and feel is a little bit different, but again, the layout hasn't really changed. We did have the shipment report, but other than that, everything's pretty much the same. Okay. If I open up in standards, now this is one that's going to be recently converted, is system settings. And one of the things you'll notice here, if I drop into one of these groups, and that's, a lot of these options are now grouped together here, but you'll see a lot of the options are now being made to be drop-down choices as opposed to just, checkboxes.
Okay, and now they're set in groups that make sense.
Exactly.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully it will make sense. And, under access, you can just choose yes or no, yes or no. Okay. So this one will be getting released with the next version. User Manager is going to look and act a little bit like this. That one's not quite ready yet. As you can see, standards has been converted overall. Our original invoicing module has been converted overall. And that's really about it for now. I think inventory, finished goods are going to be next.
They're coming. Okay.
Okay. Scheduling, of course, has been rewritten.
Right.
Okay. One of the last things we can talk about too is, while we are converting these modules, and it is possible that during that conversion you could run into, some problems, some bugs along the way that may be to be expected. But we do have a little utility that you can run where you can switch back to the original version of the module.
Okay.
And we can open that up.
Sure. Let's take a look at that.
Okay. And this gets installed with every release. You want to go into your Enterprise 32 folder. And the file is called Enterprise Version Selector. Okay. And all you have to do is double click. And it lists all the key core modules or areas of the program. And it will tell you the platform that's currently in use. So you can see, what's set to VB6, what's set to .NET. So if, for example, I'm running invoicing and you run into a pretty key problem, you don't have to panic. You can open up this executable and you can actually just revert right back to the VB6 part or the original version of the module.
Okay.
And it'll operate just the same as before, switching to .NET.
And if you change that on one machine, does it change it for everybody? So
Yeah, as soon as they log out, log back in.
Okay, great.
It'll be it's a database setting, not user.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So, we want to, obviously we need help testing these new modules, but if bugs are found, just report them to Enterprise. We'll take a look at it. We'll get it fixed as soon as possible. But under no means do you need to be down. You can just quickly revert back to the original module.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that was great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching. I'm Chris Costa, and this was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
You want me to redo that exit? Oh, boy.
Where did you end up with on that?
Well, we can start here.
We can
You
just
turn.
we can just right from. I'll just kind of go right into it.
Talk about the last thing that you said was good. I think you have to probably start there, unfortunately.
Which was
When you started talking about
the utility.
there's no reason for you to be down. That sort of thing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't know. You figure out where you intersected properly. I don't know where.
Well, I think we were okay until we literally turned right here and did the exit.
Okay.
I think if we redo the exit, it'll be fine. So I mean, we can probably start facing the camera almost.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
Okay. What the hell was the exit?
Thank you for joining us for another episode of EPMS
So this
Tech
was
Talk.
another
This was
episode
another
of
Yeah.
okay.
EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa. I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Thanks
Please
for
be sure to
watching.
watch for more to come.
Okay. Well, this was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Thank you for watching, and please look forward to more to come.